skin, unaware that Esme's foot was connected to her at all. "Let's look at Esme's foot." She called the other girls closer until they'd made a half circle around her. Esme balled her hands into fists and waited. Amelia ran her finger along the tops of her toes, so gently it made her shiver. "Esme's toes are boxy and equal in length, which means if she dances en pointe, her weight will be distributed equally. She would not have to compensate and compromise form because one of her toes is longer than the others. And the same goes for her arches." Amelia balled her fist and fitted under the arch in Esme's foot to show its curve. "Esme's feet are just right for point work." Esme's eyes widened. Did this mean... "I'll see you in class on Monday." Amelia smiled finally and lowered Esme's foot to the floor. "Liz, Rebecca, Sophia, and Jenna, I'll see you on Monday too." "Thank you," Esme whispered, feeling as shaken as a soda bottle. She might have fizzed over, if not for the 5 other girls gathering their bags and sweaters from the back of the room, huffing into the lobby like a swarm of angry wasps, blurring the joy Esme felt for point shoes with pink ribbons, custom-made for her like a real dancer's. Esme waited until Amelia was alone in the studio, sweeping under the wall of framed newspaper articles. Some of them were about Amelia, but most were about her former students. Esme envied the girls who'd traveled to Paris and Italy and danced on old stages, and who'd already mastered things like the 32 fouette turns and fish dives. She wanted to know what it was like to let her partner catch her when her nose was only inches from the floor. She imagined it would make her cross-eyed, but she'd have to smile because the audience, one big breathing animal, would clap as wildly as her heartbeat. "But it's a little different, isn't it?" she asked. The unfairness wavered in her chest under those articles. Amelia listened as she swept. "People didn't make weather, so we didn't make its rules. But people made ballet and its rules. We could change them." The broom handle rested on Amelia's shoulder. Amelia stretched her arms over her head and yawned. Her arms floated back to her sides. Even yawning looked like dancing for Amelia. Esme promised she'd never yawn again without making it look like dancing. "In Russia," Amelia said, pushing the little dust pile forward with the broom, "every little girl wants to be a dancer. Every family hopes their daughter will, too, and many of them try, but most don't make it. That makes it more special for the ones that do. Someone made the rules, yes, but it wasn't you or me. Working towards something that seems impossible makes it more of an accomplishment. Think of it this way. Even if we could control weather and make it snow every single Christmas, eventually that wouldn't feel special. If everyone made point, it wouldn't feel like such an accomplishment right now. Remember that." Everything Amelia said sounded important. Esme packed the last of her things and stepped into an oversized pair of gray sweatpants, pushing back damp hair wisps before her mother could see what a mess her bun was. Amelia waved goodbye as she put a cassette into the tape deck and hit play. Esme wished she could watch Amelia alone in the studio. Amelia, who'd made NYCB at only 16, who'd leaped across the front page of the New York Times in Grand Jeté as the Firebird, her long hair sweeping behind her like inky wind. People had whispered the word prodigy. But now, Amelia danced in the studio alone. If the lighting was just right, the long, jagged scar down the center of her knee showed through her tights. Amelia never talked about the accident that had ended her career at 21, even though everyone knew. Sometimes Esme wondered if Amelia was hiding in Port Washington instead of living and teaching in New York City, because being close to Lincoln Center would be too painful a reminder of what she'd lost. The first few tinkling notes of Clair de Lune eased the empty studio awake. The last thing Esme saw as she closed the door behind her was Amelia's triangular back at the bar, fingers softly resting on the wood, her long braid hanging behind her like a rope. In the lobby, Esme's mother, Cerise, wound her measuring tape around her fingers.